It's little secret by now that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 tells a tale of grief. Through our journey in the canvas, we travel with a family who has been bleeding since the loss of one they held dear. Every step we take to free the canvas of this cycle of pain, we twist the knife deeper and deeper. In the end, we succeed, but how many times did the family have to suffer? Verso's canvas was once a beautiful land, and though it was Verso's one and only canvas, it was a world the Dessendres planted together, one of their favorite places to escape. But when the riders set fire to the family home, Verso gave his life to save Alicia. In that moment, a piece of every Dessendre dies with Verso, and in their grief, the canvas became a prison. Verso's death wasn't just the loss of one family member, it was the death of the family itself. It hit Aline the hardest, as mothers can never let go of their baby boys. She lives as if she had died herself, feeling only nothingness, except pain, at the sight of Alicia. She knew the dangers of prolonged exposure to a canvas she once taught Renoir. Even still, she flees into the canvas in an attempt to escape and feel anything. Renoir tries to be the rock his family can lean on, but he knows he isn't enough. He laments how Aline is choosing to grieve alone, how she's forgotten the family she has left. In an attempt to save her and the remainder of his family, he follows her into the canvas to destroy it. They spend years in the canvas in conflict. Aline paints immortal copies of her family as she sees them. They are known as the painted Dessendre family. Renoir also paints his family as he sees them. His creations, Axon, are more abstract and monstrous. Clair and Alicia were left to carry the weight of this shattered family. Clair, with a dead brother, 2 absent parents, and a useless husk of a sister, must lead the painters. She fights a war to avenge her brother. Alicia carries the guilt. Imagine if your brother traded his life for yours. Everyone believes you're responsible for his death, and you agree with them. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing the burns on your face and the missing eye. Imagine seeing your mother's face fill with rage when she looks at you. Your throat damaged in the fire, you can't even attempt to defend yourself. Eventually, Clair tasks you with going into the canvas to help put an end to the fight between your parents. You jump at the chance to be useful. In our journey to save this family, we must cut down every embodiment of them within the canvas, and then decide what path the family will take. It starts with Haller. She who carries all was painted carrying a massive chunk of Lumiere on its back, representing the weight of the Dessendre family legacy Clair carries. In concept art, she's hunched over, and the trunk of Lumiere is over twice the size of the humanoid portion. The load is much more than one person should bear. In-game, her body is much more massive. Her clothing resembles what Clair herself wears, an ordinary white shirt with what looks to be a pinafore skirt. Her hair is long and red, also matching Clair's, while giving a hint of femininity to the giant corpse. Her body is eternally hunched as it's pinned to the ground by multiple giant swords. Half of her is buried underground. Half her body being obscured, plus the ordinary clothing, almost adds to the mystery, as much like Clair, we never get to see her whole form. She was slain years before we enter the canvas by a member of Expedition Zero named Simon, who happened to be in love with Aline's painted Clair. The real Clair subdued her and repainted her to endlessly create Nevrons. She then used Simon's love for her, giving him the power to defeat Axons. In both actions, she rejects both parents' images of her. Haller is shrouded in mystery, much like Clair herself. Her pain is handled in private, as she must present strength for the family. Visages, he who guards truth with lies, is Renoir's portrait of Verso, noble, manipulative, and broken. Its first form, a mannequin of masks, hides behind 5 faces: determination, doubt, peace, anxiety, and confidence. As we strike down each mask, his facade starts to break, finally revealing his true form, Mask Keeper, a regal, dexterous figure. Many masks protrude from his armor despite being faceless. He wields a longsword in his right hand and a dagger in his left, the same as Verso. Even his weakness, fire, recalls the blaze that took his life. Only Monoko and Ciel, the two who can see furthest beyond Verso's masks, are able to see through him. Ciel deals the final blow, and when he falls, our Verso finally recognizes.
That was Verso, wasn't it? Renoir.
Sirène, she who plays with wonder, is Renoir's Aline, elegant, enchanting, forever center stage. Unlike others in her family, she never hides her presence. Her power is enchantment. She conjures the faces of lost loved ones, tempting to party with those they miss most. Gustave for Maëlle, Pierre and her unborn child for Ciel, Lune's parents, and Monoko's friend Noko. She doesn't attack their bodies, she attacks their hearts, represented in gameplay by her ability to charm you into attacking your allies. Only Lune resists, cutting through Sirène's performance with sheer will. Sirène's death mirrors her life, a dazzling performance that ends in emptiness. The Reacher, she who grasps the sky, is Renoir's vision of Alicia, forever climbing toward the sky. A mountain of scaffolds and wooden towers holds up her massive frame, but inside, a smaller one-eyed figure hides the real Axon. Maëlle fights not the giant, but painted Alicia, her mother's pained version of her. Aline deliberately chose to paint her as colorless, scarred, and masked, as eternal punishment for killing the real Verso. In this battle, she challenges both her mother and father's visions of her at once, and when she wins, she doesn't destroy either of them, she frees them.
Alicia. Send me to my family. Wait. Maëlle!
For Maëlle, this battle isn't conquest, it's reconciliation. By laying her painted self to rest, she accepts her scars and claims her identity beyond her parents' brush. To reach our journey's conclusion, we must overcome painted Renoir. The party meets him with a range of emotion. Verso's eyes look upon Renoir with pity and exhaustion, Maëlle's with rage and vengeance. We clash with him, and ultimately, we defeat him. As we put him on the back foot, he pleads with Verso to reconsider his path, though it falls on deaf ears. As Verso rejects him, he proclaims,
Then let us celebrate the second destruction of the Dessendre family!
But before he can retaliate, the curator, the real Renoir, appears before them all, and with Maëlle's help, they erase the painted Renoir, as Verso hangs his head in pain. With our greatest obstacle to this point felled, we must fight to bring a close to this expedition. We press on, where we find Aline, the paintress. Between her grief, the constant fight with Renoir, and years of exposure to the canvas, her mind is broken. She fights with the power of a god, summoning the massive construct that's been looming over the continent since the fracture. She even performs attacks that tear the fabric of the canvas. As we defeat her, Verso holds her in his arms, telling her to rest, and with Maëlle's help, they eject her from the canvas. The party is ready to celebrate, but their victory is short-lived. The paintress was keeping Renoir from erasing the canvas, and now that she is no longer here, he is free to act again. Renoir erases all of the humans of the canvas. But Mael is able to restore Ciel and Lune. So in order to stop him from destroying the rest of the canvas, we must fight him. But before this final confrontation, we must address one last remnant of Aline's painted family. On the way to Renoir, we find Clair trapped in the Flying Manor, bound to endlessly paint Nevrons. Much like Haller and Clair herself, she wears the same clothes, nearly a perfect copy outside of her pale white skin and hair. She also has splotches of gold in her, much like the painters and the curator. When we meet her, she seems to briefly connect with Verso, her brother being the first person she's seen in decades, but she only feels for a second before she returns to her duties. She, unlike many of the other opponents we face, doesn't fight us directly. She fights by summoning Nevrons that relentlessly attack us. She demands perfection of us, symbolized by how anytime we take a hit, she heals herself. No matter what we throw at her, she doesn't seem fazed, yet a close-up shot of her face shows her black and white eye fade to a more human blue, showing we barely managed to crack the slightest bit of her chains. She and Verso try to reach each other, but we feel her enchantment start to recover. She realizes there's only one way for her to find rest, so she summons multiple Nevrons to cut herself down.
Wait!
She's trying to find a way out.
Another loss Verso will have to tally, but we continue. We trudge through countless Nevrons in Lumiere in order to reach Renoir. The party confronts him, and even though he looks on them as Zeus would a mortal, he treats them with respect. He tells them everything they say is true, but it doesn't change what he must do. We proceed to fight him, and he's just as formidable as the paintress. Through the fight, he even summons Visages and Sirene to aid him in battle. And when the fight seems most dire, Aline returns to the canvas to destroy the two Axons and level the fight between the party and Renoir. After defeating him, he and Mael have a heart-to-heart. She pleads with him to let her stay in the canvas, and he responds with,
I cannot spend another day with living corpses. Since the fire, our family has crumbled. Aline in the canvas. Clair fighting a solitary war. You, a living ghost. Verso's death broke us.
in the end, he lets his baby girl make her own decision, and he leaves the canvas. Now, the final two Dessendres remain, and you must make a choice. Verso seeks to end the canvas and free the remains of his soul from endlessly painting. Mael seeks to let the canvas go on, while she paints it as it should have always been. If you choose to side with Mael, she defeats Verso, and he begs Mael to unpaint him.
Please, listen to me. Only you can do this. You can do this, please. Unpaint me. Unpaint me.
So,
Please. I don't want this life.
stop saying
I
that.
don't want this life. I don't want this life.
I just wanted to live this lifetime together. This lifetime that was stolen from us. Please. Bro. Please.
I don't want this life. Help me. Help me.
Then the cutscene shows Maëlle and Lumieren's attending an older Verso's piano recital. You see flashes of Gustave and Sophie, Pierre and Ciel, and possibly their son, even Lune. Maëlle watches as Verso starts to play, and it flashes an ominous shot of Maëlle having succumbed to the sickness of canvas overexposure. If you choose Verso's ending, he fights Maëlle, and she begs him not to leave her.
Don't do this. Don't leave me again.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, huh? You've got this incredible power to paint. You'll never have to suffer a life you don't want. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
He hugs Monoko and Esquier, telling them he'll miss them as they fade. Ciel meets him with a mixture of pity, disappointment, and compassion as she fades. Lune refuses to approach him, clearly expressing her feeling of betrayal as she does the same. He then addresses the fading boy, the final portion of the original Verso's soul, while he takes him to rest. We then cut to reality, seeing the family having a funeral for Verso. Though you can still see the pain each family member still holds, there's a feeling that they are ready to move forward. It cuts to Alicia alone, standing over Verso's memorial, and she looks up to see Gustave, Verso, Lune, Ciel, Monoko, Esquier, and Maëlle, as she was on the canvas, waving goodbye to her as they fade away. Most games that let us choose an ending usually have some kind of good and bad ending, or an incomplete ending versus a true ending. Here, no matter what we choose, the Dessendres lose someone. In Verso's ending, they lose the last piece of Verso's soul, all of their loved ones in the canvas, and the new identity Alicia built for herself in Maëlle. In Maëlle's ending, they save the canvas and get to spend more time with Verso and the revived Lumierens, but Maëlle and potentially Aline lose themselves in the canvas. This is a powerful representation of grief. Recovering from a loss never has a straightforward path. It never has a defined outcome. It never returns you whole the way you were before. The first death took Verso and shattered the family. The second meant freeing themselves of the expectations they placed on themselves in their grief. The last, the final stage of grief, acceptance. Picking up whatever pieces you have left and making it work to move forward. If you played Expedition 33, is there a good ending? And if so, which one do you think it is? And if you like this video, leave a like for those who come after.